Good day, YouTube. If you've watched any of my other videos, you'll know that I talk about the Air Force, about the military, about finances. And one of the things that I've been talking about for the last year are just experiences in my life or videos on advice on what I've seen, what I've learned, what mistakes I've made, what I recommend. I was talking to my wife just a few days ago about my past. And before I go with that, let me go back real quick to the intro, which is I've talked enough about the Air Force, but that doesn't mean I'm going to stop talking about the Air Force. I'm just out of ideas for now. But I enjoy making videos. It gives me something to do. I interact with people from all over the states and sometimes outside of the U.S. as well. And I really enjoy that. I'm a people person. I like interacting with people. So I'll continue with topics, helpful topics, hopefully. Talking to my wife a few days ago, it was on a weekend, and we were talking about our experiences growing up as children, as teenagers, as young adults, before her and I got married. When I got married, I was 24, she was 23, and we've been married 21 years now. I grew up, this is my story, with my mom and my sister, raised by my mom and my sister, who was older than me. Both of them have passed away, which is crazy, because my sister was 45. She passed away coming up on 3 years ago. My mom passed away 6 months ago. And so I'm the last one of us three. And I observed a lot. As growing up as a child, I had a great life with my mom. I'd see my dad once in a while. When I hit the age of 13, that's when I started to realize how life was, because I went from being playing all the time to now paying attention and noticing how things really were. I think that it is actually very common for families to have dysfunction. And that's my background. I came from dysfunction. At the age of 15, I ran away and I called my father crying, saying, "Dad, hey, I just got into a fight with my mom. I need somewhere to go. Can you pick me up?" That lasted for 2 years, 15 to 17. At the age of 17, I left my father's place, went back to my mom. By then I had a car and I was driving. I was a senior in high school. And I'd drive 20 miles each way from her place to high school in Los Angeles. In between that, I noticed alcoholism, some other topics that are part of life. And I had to figure out a lot of things. And in figuring things out, I made a lot of mistakes. Nothing major, just like everybody else, common mistakes. And that's what made me. The title of this video is called I Accepted the Gift. What gift am I talking about? I'll tell you right now. I accepted the gift of life, in that I know life is a gift. It's what we do. And I have some notes that I want to share with you. Going back to that dysfunction that we had in my family growing up, I think it's a common thing. One of the things that I would say that caught my attention was my wife said, "How did you turn out the way you did based on your experiences?" And I said, "Probably the same as you," because my wife has a similar story with maybe some differences, but very similar. And I would say that she is an individual that I look up to, and we're lucky to have each other, myself and herself. But at the age of 16, I said, okay, my outlook, I need to have that. What is that? Let's say it's a car. I don't like taking the bus in Los Angeles. It stinks. It takes some time. It's crowded. It costs money. I said, I need a bicycle. So my father bought me a bicycle so I can go through the city of Los Angeles. And it saved a lot of time. And I need some Ray-Bans. Believe it or not, at 16 I got some Ray-Bans just like these, but they were brown, turquoise. I think that's the color. Tortoise. I started to figure things out. And like I said, I made a lot of mistakes along the road, but I stuck with it. I decided a long time ago that life was definitely a gift, and it is what we put into it, how our outlook is. And that's what I want to talk about now, is the outlook. That's a big thing. There's other things as well. Outlook is this. I'm an optimistic person. I have dreams. I have visions. I'm not afraid of work. I like change. I accept challenges, for sure. That's my outlook, and it always hasn't been easy. And like I said, I've made mistakes as well. Outlook is one thing. Another thing is, how do you bounce back from life or a challenge, things like that? Who do you surround yourself with? I had, at the age of 19, so going back to that story, I left home. And I left home for the last time, and I couldn't live at home anymore. My mom and I were clashing. My mom is a great person, always will be. I am the guy that I am because of her, but we were clashing at that time. And I said, you know what, it's time for me to go. I packed up my clothing into my car, and I called a friend, and I said, hey, I need a place to stay. And I know you're looking for a roommate. Do you mind if I stay with you and your sister for about 3 weeks? And next month, on the 1st, we find an apartment, and we rent it. And he said, sure. That's what I did. So I left home, like I said, clothing in the trunk, that's it. Not a lot of money. And I had to figure it out. When I say I accepted the gift of life, I really think, especially in America, it's a land of so many opportunities that we as individuals can do whatever it is that we want in most cases. I say most because if you want to be an astronaut and you're not good at science or math, or you've never taken a class and you're maybe, 50 years old, it's not going to happen in most cases. So that's how come I'm saying, whatever it is that we want to do, we can make it happen. I know that for a fact because I've lived that. I would say that it takes work, adjustments, looking up to others for advice, observing, learning from mistakes, learning from other people's mistakes, things like I've talked about in the past. In February of this year, 2017, Valentine's Day, I got a phone call from my wife, and she said, hey, are you in your office? And I said, yes. Can you shut the door? I have something to tell you. I already knew it wasn't good, and it had to deal with my mom because I had a missed call from my wife, a missed call from my nephew, a text from my wife, a text from my nephew, even though they didn't tell me what was going on. And my wife said, I hate to tell you this, but your mom passed away. So I flew out to Los Angeles. I was out there for 15 days taking care of her estate. Here we are at the end of August, and I'm still doing this. And the court approved the paperwork last week. Now it's time to sell her condo. My dad, who I went to go visit, and I shocked him and his wife and my brother when I walked into their business. And he always asked me in those 15 days, is there anything that you need? Do you need a place to stay? Do you need money? Do you blah, blah, blah? And I said, Dad, I'm good, thank you. Here's what I do need. Can I borrow your fax machine? Can I make copies at your job, at his shop? And then towards the end I said, Dad, I need one more favor. Is there any way you can take me to the airport when I'm ready to go home? He said, absolutely. That morning we're driving to the airport, maybe 20 miles, in traffic, and we're talking, and I said, Dad, do you believe in the afterlife? And he said, I do, and so do I. He said, but we don't know. I want to say yes, I do believe it, but I don't know if it exists. And I kind of feel the same way, but in the meantime, I do have my faith and something I believe in and something that gives me peace, which is great. But my dad said something that I knew at the age of 16. My dad said, I think this is the gift. This meaning this lifetime that we are here on this planet is a gift. And I definitely agreed with him. And I think about that often because I agree with that 100%. And that's how I felt at the age of 16. Even though I did have my challenges and my successes and my tears and everything in life that happens, because life happens to all of us, especially when you're lost. And many times I felt lost as well. when I got kicked out of high school, excuse me, out of college. So I joined the Air Force, and wow, talk about a second opportunity, a second chance to reach the stars. That's my story. I know I would have done great things in the city of Los Angeles if I would have stayed there. I'm happy I joined and got to see the world, and I like to visit Los Angeles, but that's not where I want to live. Life is really a gift, but we have to be aware of that. You have to be aware of that. If you have challenges in your life, work on them. Speak to someone. Get help. You're not alone. Make adjustments. Work hard. The list goes on and on and on, but it's worth it. It's a sweet life. Life is the gift, and hopefully it's not the only gift. Good people. My friends when I was 19 and lost became my family. These are the friends that I still talk to. Not every weekend, but they're spread out, and it's good to talk to these people. My family of 4, my wife, my son, my daughter, myself, left on our journey, 3 of us in 1996, and now it's 4 of us. Life is good. Make the most of it. It's not how many years we live, whether it's 90 or 50, but it's the quality of years that we live. Hopefully you agree with this. If you don't, let me know why. That's fine. But we don't know how long we're going to be in this world. And I feel my wife has been the gift to me as well. She spoke at my mom's funeral, and she said, my wife said that she got my mom's best gift, and I thought that was touching. I wasn't expecting to hear that. That's how I feel about my wife as well. Make the most of your day and celebrate your life. Celebrate it with your friends, with your family, with whoever you want to. Make the most of it. Hope you've enjoyed it.